By now you know the Sister of the Thorn can do absolutely insane damage with the Javelin, but what about her other weapon, the Deepwood Staff? Well, it's pretty good too. But first, let's talk about her. Her passive ability, a Cluster of Radiance, Cerulean is granted a Radiance of free use of her career skill every 60 seconds. Her actual career skill, Thorn Wake, Cerulean conjures a thorn wall that hinders enemy movement. The thorn wall lasts for 6 seconds. She's also got Murder of Spites. Cerulean deals up to 50% more damage to wounded targets depending on their remaining health. A Sustenance of Leechlings. Whenever another party member receives temp health while at full health, Cerulean gains temp health instead. And an Attendance of Municipants. All healing received by the party increased by 25%. Works for both green and temp health. So for this build, your melee weapon is really, it depends. Whatever you're most comfortable with is fine for this, because we're not really going to be attacking very much. This is more of a support build, so whatever you want to do. I've got the sword and dagger. I like dual swords. Sometimes use the glaive. They all work fine. And I really like killing blows for temp health. That gives you a lot at once. And crits and headshots will work because you can get tons of crits. So again, it kind of just boils down to what you're most comfortable with. Yeah, I mean, either one of those be fine. For her second line, I really like Isha's Bounty. It's pretty much a constant 50% extra power for 8 seconds, which keeps, re-procking every time you make temp health or somebody else uses her ult, or if you take natural bond. It's just constant. It's really good. It allows you to not have to necessarily run enhanced power if you want to hit like those breakpoints. So that's super good, because on this level 15 line, Smiter, I really like that. Lets you do more damage to hordes generally, because they'll die by the time you would do like a third hit to them. Also lets you do more damage against monsters, because monsters are pretty much, they're not impossible to stagger, but they're hardly ever staggered. And in the state of stagger 0, Smiter lets you do 20% more damage versus mainstay, which doesn't let you do any extra damage, so Smiter's pretty good for that. Down here, I talked about Radiant Inheritance in the last build. But for this one, we're going to want Incandescence, which is a second stack of Radiance, which is that second ult that I've mentioned before. Thorn Wake is her main ult, and then she gets like these two passive, kind of passive ults, right? They'll have little icons in the bottom of the screen. They'll reset, and then you can use an ult there. It's every 60 seconds, so you can pretty much have these up all the time, which is really nice. And it goes really good with this next talent down here, Moray Haig's Doomsight. Gain 3 guaranteed critical strikes each time a career skill is used. So this is going to let you stack crits, and there is no limit to the amount of crits you can stack right now. I had almost 200 in a game one time, and it's absolutely insane. And this and Incandescence is going to work really good together, and it's going to allow you to lift enemies and use your staff pretty much without having to worry about overheat. Another good thing about Moray Haig's Doomsight, it works when anybody on your team uses an ult at any distance. So like a Foot Knight with hero time, that's 3 crits for 1 ult, and then say somebody gets grabbed, he gets a hero time, 3 more crits, you have 6 easy crits, and these are going to come into play later. For the bottom ult, I'm choosing to go with Black Venom Thicket. When the thorn wall expires, poisonous thorns explode outward, causing nearby enemies to take 20% increased damage for 10 seconds. So this is a really good, the 6-second wall, which kind of helps block enemies. Acts like a little defensive thing going on there. And then when it explodes, it kind of staggers them, and they take more damage for 10 seconds. It's pretty nice. So for the equipment, as I mentioned, sword and dagger. For me, I like Chaos Block Cost Swift Sling. You don't have to do that. It really depends on like your comfortability with a weapon. You don't have to use this. You can use whatever you want. But the big thing is the Deepwood Staff here. And right now I've just got Chaos Armored. That doesn't really matter so much, but the important thing is the trait has to be Heatsink. Heatsink is critical hits refund the overcharge cost of an attack. This is how you're going to be able to do a bunch of lifts with like no overcharge. And I will demonstrate it here. So a wall, a wall, a wall. See 3 walls. See that little icon in the corner now? I have 9 free crits, which means if I go to lift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and that has cost me no overcharge. But now if I were to do one, now it costs overcharge. Heat Sink is absolutely the best trait for the Deepwood staff. You can pretty much have infinite lifts of enemies. You can lift up anything as long as you have these crits up from yourself and from your team. It's amazing. For my necklace, I like Health Block Custom Bark Skin. She has 125 base health, so taking 20 extra health gives you 150. Pretty much putting you, pretty close to the amount of health that an Ironbreaker has. Making you fairly tanky, especially with increased healing. And I think Bunashalia and Bark Skin go really good together, which is what you pretty much have with an attendance of Municipants, which is why I take Bark Skin. And then I like Max Block Cost Reduction, lets you tank some overheads, lets you be fairly tanky from your weapon and your necklace. It's pretty good. Here I've got Chaos Attack Speed Proxy, just because I like the way that extra attack speed feels with Sword and Dagger. Chaos enemies have more health than any others in the game. Chaos does apply to Beastmen, by the way, so that's really cool. And the Proxy is just a super fun trait, lets you double the value of potions, lets you kind of, be more of a team player. This is intended to be a super team build, kind of a fun, supportive type build. You can disable specials, disable elites, hold them in the air, make them float. You can make defensive walls. Plus, your healing talents, your healing passive rather, is quite nice and definitely will benefit the team. For my trinket, right now I've got cooldown, stamina reduction, Grenadier or Shrapnel would be fine. Like both of them. If you're, this is like, Kata and up, obviously. If you're going to do Legend, I would say probably get rid of the stamina recovery and throw Curse on there, just because the cooldown is really nice to have. The more you are ulting, the more crits you're going to get, so that's really good. But that's it for me, guys. This is the Deepwood Staff Infinite Lifting build. It's pretty good. Lets you disable pretty much anything you want. Use your staff as much as you like. And be a super fun team player. And look at this. No overcharge. That's pretty cool. Take care, guys.
And I do understand why she has the melee crits and killing blows instead of hitting multiple, because of her level, the one where when she gains health, she gets more power.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh my god.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
You can do what a Blightstormer can't.